Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today we are talking about two words that seem so obvious that learners sometimes wonder why we even need to discuss them. But the truth is that these two words cause a surprisingly common and specific error that even intermediate learners make regularly. And that error changes the meaning of what you say completely.
Yes, and I have heard this mistake from learners at all levels. It is one of those errors that slips through because the person knows both words, but mixes up which direction the knowledge is flowing. Today, we are going to make sure that never happens to you again.
The two words today are learn and teach. Let us get straight to the heart of the difference.
Learn means to gain knowledge or a skill. The knowledge goes into you. You receive it. You are the one who does not know something and then comes to know it. Learning is about gaining.
Teach means to give knowledge or a skill to someone else. The knowledge goes out from you. You already have knowledge and you pass it to another person. Teaching is about giving.
So learn is receiving knowledge. Teach is giving knowledge. The direction of the knowledge flow is opposite.
Think of it like water. Learning is like filling a glass. The knowledge flows into you. Teaching is like pouring from a jug. The knowledge flows out of you and into someone else.
Receiving equals learn. Giving equals teach. That is the absolute heart of everything today.
Now let me show you the most common mistake that learners make with these two words.
A learner wants to say that someone helped them gain a skill. For example, their father helped them understand how to ride a bicycle. They want to express this, and they say, "My father learned me how to ride a bicycle."
That is the mistake. Learned me is wrong. The correct sentence is, "My father taught me how to ride a bicycle." The father was giving the knowledge. He was the one who already knew how to ride. He passed that knowledge to the child. That is teaching, not learning.
And the child received that knowledge. The child learned how to ride a bicycle. The child learned, the father taught.
So the sentence has two correct forms. My father taught me how to ride a bicycle describes what the father did. I learned how to ride a bicycle from my father describes what the child did.
Both sentences are about the same event, but from opposite perspectives. Teaching from the giver, learning from the receiver.
And learned me is wrong because you cannot learn something to someone. In modern standard English, learn is not used as a transitive verb meaning to instruct. You teach someone something. You do not learn someone something.
It is worth knowing that in very old English and in some dialects, you'll encounter learn used to mean teach. But in modern standard English, this is considered incorrect and should be avoided in any formal or professional context.
Now let's go deep into each word.
Learn has several important uses. The first is to gain knowledge or skill through study, experience, or being taught. I am learning Spanish. She learned to cook from her grandmother. He learned the rules of the game by watching others play.
In all of those, the subject is the one gaining knowledge, going from not knowing to knowing.
The second use of learn is to become aware of or find out about something. I just learned that the meeting was canceled. She learned of his arrival through a mutual friend. He learned the truth only after many years.
Here, learn means to find out or discover. The knowledge arrives to you through information rather than through deliberate study.
The third use of learn is to memorize something. She learned the poem by heart. He learned all the capitals of Europe. They learned the speech word for word.
Learn by heart is a very commonly used expression meaning to memorize so completely that you can recall it without any reference material.
Now let's go deep into teach. Teach has several important uses as well.
The first and fundamental is to give knowledge or skill to someone else. She teaches mathematics at a secondary school. He taught her how to drive. They teach children the importance of honesty.
In all of those, the subject already has the knowledge or skill and is passing it to someone else. The knowledge flows from them outward.
The second use is to cause someone to understand or accept something through experience or example. Life teaches us patience. Failure teaches resilience. The experience taught me that preparation is everything.
These cases, the teacher is not a person. It is life, experience, failure, or circumstances. These things give us understanding. They teach us.
And this use is very poetic and expressive. You can say, adversity teaches strength, time teaches perspective, love teaches humility. These are beautiful and natural English expressions.
Now let me talk about the grammar of each word because both are irregular verbs, and learners need to know the past forms.
Learn is a regular verb. The past simple and past participle are both learned. I learned to swim when I was 5. She has learned 3 languages. In British English, learnt is also used as the past simple and past participle. I learned it quickly. She has learned so much this year.
So for learn, you have 2 options in the past. Learned, which is standard in American English and also used in British English, and learnt, which is British English and not commonly used in American English. Both are correct in their respective varieties.
Teach is an irregular verb. The past simple and past participle are both taught, pronounced taught. She taught history for 30 years. He has taught at this university since 2010.
Taught is the only past form. There is no teached. It is always taught.
Now let me talk about some very important and natural phrases with each word, because knowing these chunks will make your English feel much more fluent.
With learn from your mistakes means to understand what went wrong and change your behavior. Learn the ropes means to learn how a new job or activity works. You will learn the ropes quickly. Learn by heart means to memorize completely. Learn the hard way means to understand through a difficult or painful experience. Live and learn is a phrase meaning that life teaches you new things as you go.
With teach someone a lesson, as we discussed. Teach yourself means to learn something without a formal teacher. I taught myself to play guitar. That will teach you is a phrase said when someone has experienced a consequence of their own actions. You couldn't get the tickets because you waited too long. Well, that will teach you to wait next time. Teach an old dog new tricks comes from the expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, meaning it's difficult to make people change established habits.
Those phrases are used constantly in everyday English, and knowing them will help you both understand and produce very natural-sounding language.
Now, let us also talk about some related words, because the word family around learn and teach is very useful.
From learn, we get learner, which is a person who is learning, language learner, learner driver, beginner learner, and learning, which can be a noun. Lifelong learning, a love of learning, distance learning, the learning process.
From teach, we get teacher, which is a person who teaches professionally, school teacher, language teacher, piano teacher. And teaching, which as a noun refers to the profession or the act. She went into teaching, the teaching of mathematics, teaching methods.
We also get educator, which is a broader term for someone in the education field, and education, which is the whole system of learning and teaching. These come from a different Latin root, but they are part of the same family of ideas.
Now, let me also mention the word tutor, which is somewhere between learn and teach. A tutor is someone who teaches in a more personal, one-on-one or small group setting. Tutoring bridges both directions. The tutor teaches, and the student learns.
Now let us go through the most common mistakes learners make with learn and teach.
Mistake number 1 is saying someone learned you something instead of taught you something. My teacher learned me grammar. Wrong. My teacher taught me grammar. The teacher was giving knowledge, teaching, not learning.
Mistake number 2 is using the wrong subject, saying, I taught Spanish last year when you mean you gained Spanish skills. I taught Spanish means you were the one giving Spanish to others. If you gained Spanish skills, you say, I learned Spanish last year.
Mistake number 3 is not knowing the past form of teach, saying she teached for many years instead of she taught for many years. Teach is irregular. Past simple and past participle are both taught.
Mistake number 4 is confusing the difference between learned and learnt. In American English, always use learned. In British English, both learned and learnt are acceptable. Knowing which variety of English you are using helps you choose.
Mistake number 5 is not using the figurative teach and learn with life and experience. Saying, life gives me lessons instead of life teaches me lessons, or I have gained from experience instead of I have learned from experience. The figurative uses are very natural and should be part of your active vocabulary.
Mistake number 6 is not knowing teach yourself as a phrase, saying I learned myself how to code instead of I taught myself how to code. When you are both the teacher and the learner, the correct phrase is taught myself.
And mistake number 7 is mixing up the direction of knowledge in complex sentences. Saying, can you learn me this skill? Instead of, can you teach me this skill? You are asking someone to give you knowledge. They're the teacher. Teach is what you need.
Now let us do a practice round. I will describe a situation and you choose learn or teach and explain why.
Ready.
A university professor is in front of a class explaining advanced mathematics.
Teaching. The professor already has the knowledge and is giving it to the students. The professor is teaching advanced mathematics.
A child is picking up a new language through games and conversation over time.
Learning. The child is gaining new knowledge. The child is learning a new language. Someone wants to ask a friend to help them understand how to use a new software program.
Teach. The friend has the knowledge and will give it. Can you teach me how to use this program?
A person realizes through a painful mistake that they should always double-check their work before submitting.
Learned. They gained understanding through experience. The mistake taught them to double-check, or they learned from the experience.
A musician spent months learning guitar without any formal lessons.
Taught herself. When you are both giver and receiver of the knowledge, you use taught yourself. She taught herself to play guitar.
A grandmother passed on traditional cooking techniques to her grandchildren over many years.
Taught. The grandmother had the knowledge and gave it to the grandchildren. She taught them traditional cooking.
Someone is taking an online course about digital marketing for the first time.
Learning. They are gaining new knowledge. She is learning digital marketing through an online course.
A wise mentor shares life advice that helps a young professional understand the importance of patience.
The mentor taught them the importance of patience, or the experience taught them. The mentor gave understanding, teaching.
Every single answer was right and the reasoning was clear every time.
And I hope listeners were working through each one, because the key question never changed. Is knowledge flowing in, receiving? That is learning. Is knowledge flowing out, giving? That is teaching.
Receiving equals learn. Giving equals teach. Every single time.
Now, before we close, let me say something that I think is really meaningful for our listeners.
Please.
The relationship between learning and teaching is one of the most fundamental relationships in human life. We are all always doing both. You learn from others, and then at some point in your own way, you teach what you have learned to your friends, your children, your colleagues.
And learning a language is itself a beautiful example of this cycle. You are learning English right now, and in doing so, you will one day help others learn it too, whether formally or just through conversation.
Understanding learn and teach at a deep level connects you to that whole beautiful cycle. And now you have the words to describe both directions of it clearly and correctly.
That clarity in language is clarity in thought, and clarity in thought is the foundation of real communication.
Thank you so much for being here today. We hope Learn and Teach feel completely clear and that you feel genuinely confident using both of them correctly in any situation.
Keep going, and we'll see you in the next episode.